Good evening and welcome to the Roxy Files. It might help if I unmuted the mic, Shannon.
I was wondering. I was like, should I say
I was
something?
talking
Should I
dead
say
ahead.
something?
Hello, governors. How is everyone today? Hello.
No.
We'll give everybody a second to get here. Everybody's wandering in. We're going to talk about a few things tonight. RH negative blood being one of them. Catch everybody up to date on what's going on. I've been kind of hit and miss over on the other channels due to a lot of life things going on. So is Shannon. We are real
Yeah.
people with real crap every day, all day. So
Yeah.
let's see. We have Capricorny Navy Ops. Good evening. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Everybody chime in. Tell us if we got any RH negatives in the crowd, and if so, what have you noticed? Are you RH negative, Sheena?
I was just going to say, no, I am not RH negative. I am O positive. But my stepfather, Charlie, who was a Skylar Hamilton, was an RH negative. I'm sure it's in my family somewhere. I just didn't get it.
Well, I didn't even know I was RH negative until I was well into adulthood. Um, and it kind of happened by happenstance. As many medical procedures as I've had, and we're up into like 20 plus surgeries at this point. I am the bionic woman, just FYI. I have 27 metal plates in my head and face. I did have one for a clavicle. They finally took it out. And countless other surgeries. But that was a dumb accident as a 16-year-old involving alcohol, which made no sense to even partake. But I guess I was supposed to learn a lesson. Lesson learned. But I am RH negative, and I've always had a lot of health anomalies. I am O negative. So, Navy Ops, welcome to the club. Call me if you need blood. There's only a few of us. I am a universal donor, but I can only take my own kind of blood, which is kind of scary. Anytime I've ever had surgery done, um, I have tried to pre donate if it was possible to pre donate blood in those situations just so there would be some on file. There's this lovely woman who is sending me text messages named Shannon.
I had to
Shannon,
before I forgot.
she has a very unique book in her hand, which we're going to talk about a little bit tonight. My first thing I can think of as far as being RH negative that came up health wise, when I was like 12 or 13, I started complaining of horrible lower back pain. 12-year-olds should not be complaining of horrible lower back pain. And it got to the point that my mother took me to a ortho doctor, PET scans, MRIs, all this good stuff. Next thing you know, they had fashioned this plaster type brace that went on with elastic that I had to wear that made me look like something out of a bad science fiction movie, which I didn't wear because I was 13 and I didn't want to go to school looking like that because I was told I had a birth defect. That for some reason my final vertebrae at the bottom that there was an extra one and it was still partly conjoined to my pelvic bone. So I just assumed that's where my back pain came from all my life, went on about my way. And now I find out that this is an anomaly with people who are RH negative. We
Now,
tend to have an extra vertebrae.
question. Isn't RH negative technically O negative, right? It is in the O category.
No, no,
No, you
you
can
can
be.
be any
Oh,
blood
okay.
type and be
Okay.
RH negative. You either have RH or you're RH negative.
Right.
Um, regular RH, which I guess you would say is RH positive, um, that's the rhesus monkey factor. That I guess we have it's the same type blood as primate. But RH negative, we are missing one of the alleles on the actual, like, external of our blood. And if we get pregnant or receive blood or anything biologically internally that is not an RH negative, our body sees it as a foreign invader and automatically tries to disperse it. This is why the ROGAM shot come up.
Mhm.
Any woman who is RH negative and becomes pregnant, if you do not have okay, first pregnancy, regardless of what it is, will go like clockwork. My first pregnancy, I could tell you the day I got pregnant and the day I delivered, perfect to the date, no problem. I went into labor at lunch. I had her at like 5:30, 6 o'clock that afternoon. No drugs, all natural. I was like, this is pretty easy. Well, problem was I was 19, 20 years old, and nobody explained to me that immediately after giving birth you were fertile myrtle. So at my 30-day checkup,
Mhm.
I was pregnant again. And nobody checked. I don't know if it had to be a thing in the 90s because they've been checking blood types for marriage license for decades. That was the whole reason when you, in some states, when you went and got a marriage license, you had to have a blood test. It was to see if one of you was RH negative. I don't know if they denied the marriage license. That would be an interesting question, but that's why they used to test blood types.
Hmm.
I see our chat crowd going off over there. But I never got a ROGAM shot with the second kid. If you are RH negative and you don't get the ROGAM shot, your body will automatically try to abort the pregnancy before 29 weeks. My second child, I did not have a ROGAM shot, and at exactly 29 weeks, my body went to abort. Luckily, they saved him. He's 30 years old, and he eats me out of house and home. There's no way a 30-year-old should be eating that much food, but anyway, that's a mother problem. But he's fine. He didn't weigh but a pound and 13 ounces when he was born. He was a miracle to even be here. If I had had the ROGAM shot, that would have never been an issue. I would have probably carried him full term. But evidently, I had the most ignorant OBGYN office I've ever seen in my life. But I was 20. I didn't know any better. I mean, and you got to understand, this is 1995. Like, Google isn't invented yet.
Nope.
I had babies pre Google. Oh my God, I'm old. God, that just sounds so horrible. I had children pre-Google.
Yeah, I was still in high school in '95.
Well, and I heard somebody say the other day, "Oh my gosh, you were born in the 19th century." I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute. Just wait
Man,
a minute. That's too much. You're
man.
going too far with that."
Hey, I can. I used to be excited to say I was born the year MTV came out, and now I'm like, oh, I don't want to say
Girl, when
it.
I was born, disco was still a thing, okay? We was in the 70s. There was still
Yeah,
John Travolta.
I was post, but just barely, just barely, just barely.
Um, a couple of the other things I've researched and found over time, people with RH negative is an extremely small group of the population. There are not a lot of us worldwide that are in the RH negative family. I think I think it's 13% is the population worldwide. Let's see. Hang on. I had the numbers pulled up while I'm looking that up. A couple of the other things that I have found looking through, different groups and things of that nature, different groups of people who have it. Most of us have hazel hexachromia eyes. Now, if you have hexachromia eyes, it means that right around your pupil, there's like this golden ring, almost like a halo around your eye. And due to the fact that we have hexachromia eyes, we can see a sixth version of color. Normally, your eye sees in five colors, but people with hexachromia eyes, we see six. We see a different version. You know, the Dionysian, whatever, the purple glasses, Shannon, that we've
Right.
talked about a couple of times. We can actually see in that color.
But what's interesting though is I'm O positive and I have that. And my
Now, that could
father
have been a
had
genetic
hazel
trait. Yeah.
eyes. And my father had hazel eyes. I don't know what his blood type was, but it's I'm just curious. I'm just curious.
I don't know. We'll have to look that up. I don't think RH negative is the only way you would have hexachromia eyes. I just know
Right.
it's one of the major traits. Some have
Mhm.
an extra vertebrae, some have an extra rib. Okay, here we go. Only 6% of the world's population has RH negative blood. That was based on a global study. Um, that's globally, all over the whole world. The highest incident of those people are the Basque people, Basque. They are from the Spain, Italy, or Spain, France border area. It's a region called Basque Spain. Those people have a very unique language that nobody can find, like, it doesn't really correlate to any other languages. It's kind of its own thing. And all those people look alike. They all look like my dad and my grandma, which is the crazy thing when I look them up. And my last name originally was Basque. So this is how I got so interested in all of it. Back in the 1700s, when my family comes to Charleston, South Carolina, those of you who listen to Daniel's show, I'm not talking about my grandfather Cannon. I'm talking about my grandfather Gask, which was misspelled. It should have been Basque. But there was the French Huguenot thing going on and all kind of stuff. But when you look back, all of the people in that area, the majority of them have RH negative blood. They all look like my family. Like I could literally walk up amongst them and I don't think you could tell me from them. Strange to have that many people that look alike. But they're all concentrated right there in those Pyrenees mountains. Pyrenees, I don't know. In those mountains, and they have been there for thousands upon thousands of years. And they can, they're very restricted. They just don't mingle with outsiders. Rapture ready. You went to college in Charleston. Love it there. You must not be been here in a few years. It'll take you an hour and a half to go 12 miles in Charleston now. Let's see. Yeah, there's only about 6% that are actually O negative. We are one of the rarest blood types on Earth. Usually, when there's a natural disaster, you'll see the blood banks calling for O negative.
Yep, my stepfather, he was constantly bombarded with the blood banks, constantly.
Well, let me tell you how to get the blood bank off your back. Just tell them you had cancer. They don't want your blood anymore, not after chemo.
Mhm.
Live 2 hours from Charleston. So do I. I'm near Myrtle Beach. Rapture. We are in the, I am in the Myrtle Beach area. Shannon is over on the West Coast in the LA area. How's the weather over there today, Shannon? I know that's off topic, but
Too warm for me.
girl, it was 30 degrees here last night with snow flurries. Please. Don't talk about too warm.
Mm,
We went from shorts and flip flops 2 days ago to hoodies and toboggans this morning. It's crazy.
See, that's the part that we say we want it to be cold. And trust me, when you live in just hot all the time and you get little sprinkles of other seasons, it does get really old after a
I
long
could
time.
imagine.
But when it does get actually cold, and it's not even really cold in comparison to what you guys are used to, we are total wimps. Unless, of course, you grew up in the mountains like my husband, and he looks at us like, ah, ha, ha, flatlanders, in his shorts and t shirt. And I'm like, give me 5 blankets and a scarf and
Well, see,
so
this
yeah.
is another one of those traits of RH negative people. Our body temperature runs lower than most. If anybody out there, if you've ever had your temperature taken and you're RH negative, you know your normal body temperature is 97.5. At most 97.7 if you're normal. If there's nothing going on, you are below 98 degrees every time. And it's a hard thing about if you're sick and something is going on and you take your temperature and they say, oh, it's only 99. No, you don't understand, honey. I started at 97. I'm further along than you think I am. Yes, chemo is dangerous. I had one of the most brutal double doses, double treatment of chemo ever. And I completely understand, which my dad is gone, but I completely understand my dad's thoughts after his first round of cancer. When he got his second one, he told me, he said, I'm not taking treatment. He said, I will never, ever, ever go through that again. And I understand. It took me a year. I went through cancer treatment from August to February, which was hell on earth. And it took me a complete year to actually fully recover so that I could walk to the car, or the mailbox, or anywhere else without just being absolutely exhausted. Chemo took 104 pounds off me in 30 days. Anyway, we ain't here to talk about chemo. It's a horrible drug. Take your ivermectin. Anyway, I hope everybody's still on their ivermectin and fenbendazole schedules. But
Mm-hmm.
yep, we all have a body temperature of about 97. So now we've all got blue green or green eyes. Most of us are hexachromia eyes. You've either got an extra rib or an extra vertebrae. Most are extra vertebrae. The men tend to have the rib more so than the female counterpart. Um, we have serious pregnancy complications with low body temperature, and most of us have higher IQs and extreme intuition. And you will notice if you have RH negative that you carry your emotion in your stomach. If something feels off, your stomach will go sideways. Like your stomach will get upset. It will, you can feel it. It's like gut emotion. There's no way else to explain it. Like, some people get anxious tummy or whatever. No, if something's off with someone who's RH negative, immediately their stomach flips on them. It's crazy.
See, again, it's like I get that. I just a weirdo. It's all right.
Why do you think you're a weirdo?
'Cause I have these traits, but I'm not RH negative. And it's like, okay, I'm just a weirdo amongst the positive people. It's
Not
okay.
necessarily. There could have been an RH negative in your line that sent traits down. Um, it's not uncommon.
Hmm.
Let's see. I was reading the comments. I'm telling y'all, I'm at my daughter's house tonight and I'm down to one monitor. And oh, the reason I can't read, my glasses are on my head. Duh. Oh, welcome to Tuesday, folks. Navy Ops IQ 133. You go, homie. I don't know the last time I had mine checked. I quit doing the standardized testing and checking and one thing and another when I figured out that a lot of those standardized testings were just putting us on list. So, and I've mentioned it on air before, and it's hard. Daniel understands. because he's known me my whole life, and Willie and my sister and a few others, my brain works differently than everybody else's does. Like, I know I compare it to the Tony Stark thing, where you see him with the visual board, and he's taking his hands and moving everything around. That's kind of how my brain works. But I've normally got like 6 or 10 of those different little screens going in my brain of all the research that I do. And it becomes very overwhelming quickly. It's like you can't, almost like you can't consume and digest enough information quickly. And it comes to the point that it's overwhelming. And then you start realizing that all the puzzle pieces for all this different research all go to the same puzzle.
Mm-hmm. That is my life. I am a puzzle nerd to the core, forever and always.
I will always be a nerd. I'm proud to be a nerd. Carry on, my nerd brothers and sisters. We will save the future, I promise you. Because if you're not a nerd, you're too lazy to read or understand or discern any of the information coming at you. And it has become increasingly harder to have conversations with normies. I just like I can't anymore. I just can't. It's hard. You're like, that's wonderful, great, okay, and I'm done. I'm not, I don't want to talk about gossip or what your sister did last week with her husband or who's cheating on who. I just, I don't. Hey, Miss Connie. Uh, Ivermectin and fenbendazole can be picked up at Tractor Supply. It is actually animal dewormer. It is safe for human consumption. Yes, we
Mm-hmm.
are neurodivergent. That was one of the first things.
Yes.
It was on my elementary report cards going through the GATE program was divergent written right across the front
Mm-hmm.
and asked too many questions.
Neurodivergent, and a polymath. You are right there with me. We are
Yeah, there's always too
polymath
much going on
people.
upstairs.
Mm-hmm. Thinking spirals in
Uh,
every which way.
they were requesting people during C19. I like that, C19. That way we don't have to say the word out loud. Um, they were searching for donors of O negative, but they weren't getting none of mine during that pandemic. I don't trust. I'm not even gonna go to a doctor at this point. Like my rotator cuff has been torn up for months, and it is getting better. I'm taking glucosamine, and it's getting better. There's good days and bad days. I'm not going to have surgery. I'm not going in a hospital to be put to sleep to do anything unless it is absolutely life or death. I've seen too many things lately about what they're doing to you and what kind of um, sticky pokies they give to you while you're under anesthesia because it's in that fine print on that consent for treatment. No, thank you.
All the surgeries I've had have not gone well and have left me in a state of disability. So I choose not to ever go back, ever. Just no. It's my time. It's my time. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, it is a definite, definite weird time to be alive. I can say that when you can't trust the medical professionals. But this is my theory on the medical. Well patients are not return customers.
Hmm.
And if that stuff they wrote you that came in a bottle, if it worked, you wouldn't need a refill. You just wouldn't. They never give you anything to solve the issue. They give you something to mask the symptoms. It has nothing to do with the issue of what caused it. Just like people with thyroid issues. I have thyroid. They irradiated the Jimmy snaps out of that thing when I had cancer, so it doesn't work anymore. The medications that they give you to address that issue does not address that issue. There are two chemicals. There's T3 and T4. Well, your body produces one, processes it, and sends it back to the body as the other. there's a problem in the process. Your body may still be putting off, let's just say, 100 units, which it should convert to 50 units. Well, they can't fix that conversion, or they could, but the medicine they give you doesn't do anything to fix the conversion. They just give you something to make you start with 400 units and hope that it converts at a conversion rate enough to address your thyroid issue. So it has nothing to do with fixing the problem. It's all about the symptoms.
So I wanted to point something out that I find to be very fascinating in the medical system. When the Mr. O president, when he brought out the Affordable Care Act, they then changed over a lot of things within the computer system and how they, file things and how they code things. And the name they gave these medical codes for this system, for it's across the board in the medical system now, is called the SNOMED code. And it is spelled SNOMED, SNOMED code.
Mm,
You read that backwards and it's demons. It literally is
really?
spelled as demons backwards. And that is the SNOMED code that they put in for every little thing. You've got a cold, it's got a SNOMED code that you put into the system, the computer system that files away. And that's how they read that this is what you were seen for and blah, blah, blah. So,
Really?
yeah,
Interesting there, Shannon.
isn't it?
Interesting.
Isn't it interesting?
It is interesting, the governor. Let's see. Navy ops, immunotherapy stories. Oh, it went off the screen. I saw that about immunotherapy solving some cancers. I have heard good things about that. The whole thing about the parasite cleanse that we talk about a lot on all of our shows is okay. We talked about this last week. There is something, those pokey sticky things. There is a drug in the originals called thimerosal. It was invented by Eli Lilly in 1920 something. I don't know. We talked about it last week. We looked it up. Well, when you dig a little deeper into what thimerosal kills parasites on and bacteria, mainly parasites, on a super microscopic level. And upon a few conversations with Willie last week, who is our agricultural farming, you know,
Consultant?
consultant, we'll say that. He farmed his whole life. His family's been farming for over 100 years. We were sitting there talking about, and I told him what drug I was looking up because he's like, well, I'm sitting outside at the farm. He's like, what are you looking up? And I told him, and he's like, oh, well, that's got to be connected to this, this, and this. So he starts telling me about chemicals that they used since way back in the day. One is called, I think it's called Timac or Thimet, Timet, and Thimet. Thimac, Thimet. Anyway, they're part of the thimerosal drugs. What it is, they actually fumigate the whole field with it before they ever plant. The reason being, there are these microscopic parasites called thrips or thrips. I think it's thrips. Just in case I'm mispronouncing something, so y'all don't call me on that. I'm not sure. I'm not a farmer. THRIPES. Um, they are a microscopic parasite. They would actually they would take this chemical. It's in like a granular powdered form, and they mix it with a larger powder and they spread it all over the whole field. It is to fumigate the ground to kill these parasites so that when they plant the seed and the root system starts, that these parasites won't attack the roots of the plants to give it a stronger, healthier, whatever. I don't care what you do, you still put it in the dirt and it's going to be in the water So the plant's going to uptake it, and it's going to then become part of the plant. Correct? Is that how you would think, Shannon?
Makes sense.
Well, and as we're sitting here talking about it, we start talking about all these other chemicals that they've been using. One was called orange, and several other of those. They
Yeah, and
use that
they,
in farming.
yep, they just also found one of those forever chemicals in just hundreds upon hundreds of barrels all along the coast of San Diego that are just disintegrating now that were dumped out there. Isn't that lovely?
Well, we've been talking about, or I've been talking about this with him, and like how many chemicals and what chemicals they use on the land before they plant the crops. And there's some serious stuff that these farmers are using because, and he actually told me the farm they have, it was a shop and it has an office with a bathroom and a shower. And he's like, the only reason we put that shower in was so that they could get the USDA off of their back in case they had any kind of chemical spill, that they had a wash, area that you could get in and fully shower. I'm like, wait a minute, what kind of chemicals are y'all using that if it touched you, you needed to get in the shower and you were pouring this to the tobacco and the grains, and because now we're not talking about farming cucumbers. I'm talking about farming, wheat and corn and, hundreds of acres. This isn't a garden. This is hundreds of acres of a crop. But they were trying to kill microscopic parasites. Well, this thimerosal was in, back in the day when they started, it was in the actual, back then they had a whole vial, and they would pull several, they would stick the pokey thing in and pull out enough for one person to get a new one, and they use the same vial. So that was the reasoning, and this is in air quotes because you can't see me, um, for the thimerosal to be in there was to kill any bacteria of like cross contamination. They never took it out. We use single use vials now. It's still in there. I mean, it's crazy what it is. How in the world did we get here from RH negative? Oh, Miss Connie was asking about parasites. Sorry, guys. Squirrel. But parasites are at the root of so many of our problems. Yes. Are you asking me, Penelope? Yes, I am O negative. And I have almost every anomaly out there for a RH negative. I'm trying to read the comments. Are you reading the comments, Shannon? I'm trying to keep up with them and talk. Evidently, my poly brain isn't working correctly.
Yes, I am checking out the comments, and I was actually going to throw in something with the thimerosal talk because
Go ahead.
thimerosal is it has mercury within it, correct?
Uh huh.
Well, I know that you've gone down the whole rabbit hole of Tartaria and all of, the way these buildings worked to help create energy that was free and all of that kind of stuff, right? I
Yeah.
know there's a lot of you guys out there who know about it. If you don't, there's some interesting information out there about Tartaria and possible resets and things along those lines. But one of the interesting elements that has been shown to be used in this whole network of the free energy is mercury, but its pure form. And its pure form, it's red.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of interesting experiments out there where you can see that the red form, the pure form of mercury, it doesn't have a reflection in the mirror. You can repel it by garlic. You can attract it with gold, and it is a source of energy when used in certain ways. And it kind of leads me to the whole vampire
Mm-hmm.
mythology, right?
Well, see,
Where
up until a couple of years ago, they swore up and down there was no such thing as red mercury. That it was just a conspiracy theory, Shannon.
imagine that.
Imagine that. It was just a conspiracy theory. I think everything is a conspiracy theory anymore. I'm a
Right.
true storian. That is what I'm going to call myself. I heard that on a show the other night. It's the lowdown with Ethan Hawke. He calls himself a true storian. He wants to tell everybody the truth about history. Hey, Super Dave, we see you over there. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you everybody for being here. But yeah, it's even the R when we're talking about the RH negative things, like there's so much of it out there that's hidden or not disclosed, or if you say anything about it, no, 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 that's not what it is. It's just, a genetic mutation that happened 50,000 years ago. I'm calling hooey on that one. I'm calling hooey all day long. You're not going to tell me that that small of a percentage of a population, and it is not something that is just carried on. And before the Rogam shot, essentially, if you were RH negative, you got one kid. And every kid after that would pretty much be a miscarriage. It would be a miracle if they made it. Now, if you go back to a particular time, this is one of my theories on the RH negative. If you go back to a particular time, um, there was this lady named Mary, and she had a friend. And over in a very, very, very close approximation to Basque area, where all the RH negatives seem to be huddled up, when she fled this place, she had a friend and he was crucified. And when she left there, she went to that Basque region of Spain. But if you take from that generation, and if each generation was only allowed to have one child, and you kind of do that count of how many of those, you know, from that bloodline would be alive today, would you like to guess what number that is, Shannon?
No.
144,000.
Oh, dang it. That was going to be what I said. I should have said it.
If you take out the Rogam shot, and it would be from that direct bloodline, if that direct bloodline exists. We weren't there. We don't know. We hear rumors. You see. If you go online and you research, you see yes, you see no. Whatever. If you take that as a theory and you bring that forward, that each union would have made one child, and that one child would have made one child, you would have a current living population from that bloodline of about 144,000 at any given time. The number is higher now because of the Rogam shot, but trust me, I worked that math backwards and forwards about 10 times trying to make it not work, and I can't make it not work. And so then after that, I went down um, another rabbit hole that they say that over in that area that Mary Magdalene's skull is on display, and supposedly a sample of the hair was taken, and there are very unique genetic anomalies to that skull. We can't prove whose it is, don't know, we weren't there. Um, that would be your 144,000 if you have that genetic anomaly through the. It's a very rare anomaly, which I have. So, don't know. We're digging. So, if anybody finds out any information on this, please pass it on to me because I am a curious, curious girl over here. Shannon brought a book tonight. which she got from a family member's estate that has passed on. It is an old book, and it's kind of down the same lines of selective genetics, which is kind of what we're going to call Rh negative, some type of selective genetic. Yes, thimerosal is a mercury compound. They use it as a preservative in vaccines and other injectables. Yeah, go look at some videos of people at scientific labs when they take that chemical out of the vault and watch how they handle it. But yet they put it in the sticky thing and it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine to inject it into an infant multiple times.
Yes,
Girl,
I have this book. Yeah, what?
wonderful one. Hello, cousin. Hello. Hello, cousin.
But so I'll just read off some of the chapters in here. I think that's a
Yeah,
good
give him the
start.
name of the book. And this book is from
So
the early 1900s.
this book in particular was published in 1919, and it was a textbook that was given to my great grandfather while he was in Bible college in California. And it is called Eugenics, the Science of Human Life and Twilight Sleep. And it reads off as Nature's Secrets Revealed, Scientific Knowledge of the Laws of Sex Life and Heredity, or Eugenics. Vital information for the married and marriageable of all ages. A word at the right time to the boy, girl, young man, young woman, husband, wife, father, and mother. Also, timely help, counsel, and instruction for every member of every home, except for, I'm sure, a few homes, genetic people not allowed. Anyways, together with important hints on social purity, heredity, physical manhood, and womanhood. And it sucks right here is that Professor T.W. Shannon wrote this.
We
Along
thought
with a
that was quite
buddy.
interesting.
Yeah. But I'll just read off some of the chapters because they're very interesting. And I'd also like to note my great grandfather took lots of time to read through this and highlight specific sections and write notes that I kept in the book. And my grandfather, which is where I got this from his estate, had this out on the shelves, like in the living room, right behind him. And I, of course, never noticed. I never really paid much attention to the books back there, except for maybe a couple. But I was like, if he wasn't proud of this book, he surely wouldn't have had it on his bookshelf right behind him where he sits every day. you know, anyways, let's see. There are so
Well,
many
I know that
chapters.
eugenics was a big thing with the little man with the mustache.
Oh yeah, that was his inspiration.
Yeah, they didn't even believe people that were of low IQ drink alcohol or anything else that they should be sterilized. They should never have children.
It's really sad to say, but eugenics actually began here in America, actually here in California. And it started, 1916? That's when the very first textbook was published. And 3 years later, my great grandfather's in Bible college, and this is what they're handing out. The infiltration of the mainstream churches has been, for way back, I'm sure, but it's definitely been at least since the early 1900s out here in America. And yeah, so we have things like life and its influences, mother and home, etiquette, health and good form, love, adaptation and courtship, ethics of the unmarried, marriage, after marriage, husband and wife, childbearing, the family, children, the young man. I mean, it's like all of that kind of stuff. And then it just goes in all of a sudden to this medical section where it's like dietetics, and other things like just anatomy, and then the whole twilight sleep section, which it does mention in here that it has been around since ancient Egyptian times, which I find to be very interesting. I haven't really gone fully in depth into reading it because it kind of creeps me out. You know, there's a lot of sections in here where I'll just toss through and I'm like, oh my gosh, they really said that. Or
Somebody
wow,
actually wrote that
they
down.
actually had to illustrate that. That was kind of unnecessary, you know. And then I'm looking at my great grandfather's notes and I'm like, wow, he really bought into this stuff. This was a big deal back then. But
Yeah, well, and
yeah,
they had lack of information on a lot of things. You know what I mean? They didn't have a great selection of information like us conspiracy theorists have now that we go digging.
right. But it does, of
Oh,
course, mention, and this is the part that trips me out. So, my great grandfather was like half Native American. I kid you not. He comes from a very, there was like two different extreme white and then very, very Native American. Okay. And
mhm.
here he is reading this book and going along with it. And it's saying that, you know, certain races and Native Americans being one of them are wrong, you know? And I'm like, how in the world did he think of this? You know, how did he even go along? It's like, what, a part of me is evil? Thanks, you know? I'm like, wow. It's
I
just
don't even
something.
understand how people's brains can be that just, I don't know.
But,
Uh,
you know, I'm sure the RH negative stuff has to do with this program too. If I get into the medical section more, I'll kind of look that up because I'm curious. And I'm also curious because I know that blood carries metals in it, but certain metals, and that other metals are extremely toxic for it. But I wonder if the RH negative factor, it carries maybe an extra metal in the blood in its natural state, or if it's missing something in the metal department, because we normally have iron, copper, and zinc, but things like mercury and chromium and, you know, those kinds of metals, aluminum, are toxic. But I'm curious if some, you know, in these blood types there's something extra or missing in the metals
well,
that
I
would.
did look up the other night, like, what were some of the symptoms of having higher thimerosal numbers, and it said that now, again, this is not scientific fact. This is what I read, and I got it off a couple of different sites. And the one thing I kept coming up with was a consensus of you would always have a magnesium deficiency, which I have. I've
Magnesium.
had it for years.
Right,
I've taken magnesium every day since I was in my 30s. Every time I went to the doctor, magnesium and potassium were low.
right. And those are considered minerals or metals. I can't remember.
But
What is
heavy metal
magnesium?
detox is recommended for all everyone. You should take it because we ain't sure that that ain't what they ain't. You know, all them lines in the sky is up there, and it's in the food. It's in the sticky things they give us as children. I mean, it's just everywhere. There's metal. We are not supposed to take in metal. Plain and simple.
I mean, I know that a big part of the lines in the sky and the nanotech involved has a lot to do with control, but it also has to do with creating a battery, you know? Like we are already technically like a battery, but
A
if you
Wi-Fi
add in,
antenna.
yeah, like if you're adding in these other metals, there's purposes of frequency, capture and all that kind of stuff. And I believe that it has something to do with that.
It is. Let's see. There are a lot of things that play into the factor. I even looked up today if there were any particular tips or tricks. There have been quite a few people who based diets off of blood type. And when you look up Rh negative or O negative, it would always say that we are more a hunter than a gatherer, which I don't know. If I got to hunt for it, we gonna be in trouble because everybody knows Roxy don't eat nothing but potatoes. I'm a potato-tarian.
Vegetarian.
Potato-tarian. No, we have not seen the last Superman movie.
No, my kids did. I've heard a lot of interesting reviews, but I will say I did just recently watch this other movie that my husband made me watch, and it was like, what if Superman came down and he was evil instead of good, and used his alien powers for evil. And it was pretty awful. It was a pretty
Yeah, it was an ugly
terrifying
picture.
thing. And it was like, oh, so it's reality. And it was extremely demonic. And I was like, look, they're telling you in plain sight right here.
Okay, and I know this is off subject, guys, but you know how we get. It's the end of we're getting closer to the end, so now we're just gonna go off on all kind of wild rampant theories. We all we've talked about the Tartaria and the buildings and how they were founded, not built, and all the bells were missing. Have you ever watched the Spider-Man movie with the black Spider-Man where he gets the black goo on him and it tries to adhere to him and Spider-Man's not even strong enough to pull it off of him? Do you remember how he gets it off of him?
I actually have yet to see that. I've seen clips.
I
We
saw
had a
this years
show
ago
on
with
it
my
a while
kids.
back ago.
I'm gonna give props to this information to a podcast I watch on the regular. It's called JT Follows JC. I love him.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever listen, I love your show. Anyway, shout out. But he made a good point this morning. In that movie, the bad Spider-Man is black, and it's like this goo that kind of like adheres to him like a suit, and
Mm-hmm.
it's evil, and he's trying to pull it off of him, and he can't get it off of him. Ha! We got some people in the crowd that's seen
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
The only way he got it off was he was in the top of a church, and when the bell rung, the goo turned loose, and it actually falls down onto another guy who was his evil arch nemesis below him, and the suit adheres to him. But
Yeah,
bells were how he got the black goo off.
it's interesting because we did do a show a while back ago on the Supernatural show. Daniel did this whole video presentation of Venom in the scene that you're talking about, and we had Dan on the show, and we were talking about black goo, and we brought up Kurtz Vela. I can't remember his last name right now, but he does these seminars, and he did a lot of study with the substance they call black goo, and it being a sentient thing and frequency, it either repels it or connects it. It's just interesting.
Well, and if you look at this whole black goo theory, um, I don't even like saying her name out loud. That's just how
Are you talking about
truly.
Gaga?
Yeah, and see, you went and
Yeah.
said her name out loud.
I
Ugh.
just said part of it. I just said that part.
Yeah, I did. She just.
Oh yeah, you okay. Okay, her Fame perfume.
Uh huh. It's black.
Okay, that commercial for it, which is
Uh
like,
huh.
for the first time that a commercial was more like a short film, right? That is literally the most evil, demonic perfume commercial I have ever seen. And black goo is the star. Let's just put it that way. Black goo is the star in this film slash commercial thing. And not to mention that perfume had what she said, okay, was the the equivalent of her blood, a man's seed, which I'm sure you can figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And some belladonna in it. So blood, a man's seed, and belladonna are things that are in this perfume. It's like, why in the world would you want to spray that upon your body? And what, how obvious do you have to be that this is black magic spell stuff? And it's like, is black goo in this as well? Because let me tell you, you are advertising and making black goo the star. So I
Well,
just,
there's pictures of her at one of these elite dinner parties where it appears that they have about a 10-year-old child in a
oh yeah.
table.
Oh yeah, the
And
Marina Abramovic
yeah, and
party. Mm-hmm.
that kid ain't live no more, folks. And they make it out when anybody's talked about the pictures that it was staged and it was fake. Bull. I'm calling bull on it. I like
Yeah.
calling bull. I'd put a gong on her. I think
Yes.
Penelope was asking who we were talking about. We ain't talking about Gaga, the
The
one of
the
yeah,
demented
her and her little
lady.
monsters.
The demented lady who stole her
The
whole
evil one.
gig anyways from someone. Anyways, she is, or it, you know,
Yeah,
there
it.
was there was a lot of talk back in the beginning of
Well, and
its
if you look at her in
nature.
Winehouse, I'm still believing that one is the other.
Central
I
casting, man. It's
well,
all central casting. And it, as coming to terms with the fact that I could have been one of them, I realize how integral this central casting is to so many factions on this planet. And it's very disturbing to me because nothing is as it seems. We are just, yes, central casting in a
yeah,
nutshell.
I've always wondered where would I have been if I had not been labeled divergent? If I had been one of these kids that just went along and got along and smiled, I've been a pain in the batuka since I was like straight out the womb. I ain't even gonna lie. I've been loud, outspoken, and I ask too many questions, but that's always been me. I've never been one to sit down and accept the answer. I'm like, no, why? Why? I need to know why. Don't just tell me because doesn't work for me.
Mhm.
I need to know how the gears work. And that's just me. We
See,
love you too, guys.
right? What the evil ones don't want you to know is that the Holy Spirit has been nudging us in a huge movement to wake up from all this, and all of the God given gifts that we have, we get to take back in the name of Jesus. And I just wanted to point that out because this has been a really rough ride in the last couple weeks, just coming to terms with, I mean, there are a lot of things I knew about, a lot of things growing up that have come into light in the last 10 years or so, 10, 12 years, but especially all this stuff with the schools. And I just realized so much that so many of us are coming together, but we're coming in together because the Holy Spirit brought us together and is giving us our power back that God gave us, and is not allowing them to mess with us anymore, which very much so upsets the evil ones, but it doesn't matter because we're coming to know the power of Jesus within. And that's the important part.
My goal in life is that when my feet hit the floor in the morning, the devil says, "Oh goodness, she's up again." That is my goal, to make the devil nervous. And any other devil who wants to broadcast his message, I want to
Mm.
make them all nervous because I'm not going to be quiet.
Mm-mm. That is correct.
We have got all kind of visitors here with us tonight. We want to take a second to thank you guys so much for joining us. We got a big crowd here tonight. And send a shout out to Super Dave and Mike, our wonderful moderators as always. And everybody give a congratulations to Super Dave on winning the tinfoil hat contest. He's with us tonight, Shannon.
Yay! I got a book for you. A super awesome book. Because
And I
you are
ordered your mug this
awesome.
morning. As
Yeah.
soon as it comes in, I'll ship it to you. I think coming up possibly next month, Shannon is going to have some giveaways. And it is going to be all based off of what, Shannon?
Okay, guys, since you brought it up, I will
Might as
announce
well.
it. Might as well. So, Roxy and I are we are doing something amazing to pull you all in to subscribe and hang out with us on our channel. And that is a really awesome giveaway. There will probably be at least three of these books available, but our good friend David, also known as Jesus Freak Computer Geek, wrote an amazing book called The Flood of AI and The Rise of the Nephilim. It is an amazing book. I've read it twice. It's very easy to understand, but it gives you such vital information of what AI really is, what it is that we're facing, and how to defeat what is being planned. Everything is scripturally sound. And I might add that David worked for NASA for a long time, even went to Antarctica. He knows the lies that NASA has given, he's seen it firsthand. And he is giving you all the information you need to really understand how all this stuff can infiltrate and how you can defeat it. It's just really cool. So we're going to give away at least 3 of those books at the end of December, depending on the amount of subscriptions. Ha ha.
Yes, because guys, Shannon and I don't make a penny off of this. When
No.
if you have a YouTube channel, you're aware. If you don't, you don't get any type of ad revenue or anything until we get to 500 subscribers. So that's an important number for us. Because right now, between Shannon and I with Daniel's show, we do 4 to 5 shows a week
Mhm.
on air, much less, the investigation and rabbit holes and all of that good stuff. And don't get me wrong, we love hanging out with you guys. Tuesday and Thursday nights, or we love it because everybody's piled up in their pajamas with their snack and their coffee, and we're all talking trash and kicking the devil while we're at it
And laughing in his
and
face.
laughing. We love kicking the devil and telling jokes because we gotta. We're all here. We're not going anywhere, and we are awake. And we know that it is difficult to have conversations with people who are not. If there are some of you out there that would like to be a guest on one of our shows, or you have a topic you want to discuss on the show and be a guest, we are more than welcome to having others on the show with us. We can pre-record it or we can do it live. We can do it either way you want. But you guys are the reason that we do what we do. I don't feel as though we are supposed to do anything but put the breadcrumbs in front of you so you can go find the truth for yourself. Don't ever take anything that we say as concrete 100. Please go research and do the investigation for yourself and prove or disprove our theories. If you disprove my theory, you will not hurt my feelings to come back and tell me like, no, girl, you was wrong. Look at this, because then we both gonna have to go down that rabbit hole together. And you can. I don't believe in confrontation. I believe in conversation. If you approach a conversation with an open mind, we can go so much further together.
That's right.
Let's
That's
see.
right.
Yeah, we got a lot of our regulars in here and a bunch of new ones. Rapture, Snowball, Video James, Navy Ops, up north. Hey, Wild Man, I see you over there. Alicia, Penelope. I know I've anonymous. I know I've probably missed a few of you, and I'm sorry if I have. But it's hard to talk and read all at one time, especially when I'm only on one screen because I'm with the grandkids tonight.
I
You know,
have to at least apologize if I've been a little quiet tonight and not quite as on it. I've had a great loss in my family, so I've just been kind of in and out of thought, and I just in grief. So I do apologize. I'm trying to be upbeat in the game, but if you all could send some prayers to my family right now, because we're all in a lot of hurt. So that would
yeah,
be
say a few
awesome.
prayers for Shannon tonight to deal with this loss that they're going through. And I know quite a few of our viewers. I've seen many of you time and time again talk about you feel like you're isolated. We don't want you to feel like you're isolated. This is your family. This is what Shannon and I are here for Tuesday and Thursday night, so we can all get together and laugh and love each other and talk about the truth and let people make fun of us for wearing tinfoil hats. We don't really care. If we did, we wouldn't be here. But also remember that on our YouTube pages, there are communities, which is kind of like a Facebook where you can go on there and talk back and forth with each other, and we'll have updates of when shows are coming. There's one on mine, the Roxy Files, and there is also one on Shannon's, the Children of the Most High. It's on all YouTube pages, but utilize that community page because I get notifications directly and I try to interact with them as much as possible during the day. By all means, if you have a topic you want us to explore or investigate or discuss, by all means, go in community and post it. Just put topic, and type it in. I'll reply. We'll get back to you. But go down, like the video, hit subscribe. Make sure you're subscribed on Shannon's channel and mine. We're trying to get to 500. That's our big thing right now. Hey, Diana. Um, but we love you guys and thank you for being here with us. And make sure that you take the time to say your prayers and to be grateful for all the blessings that you have. That theory of it could always be worse, it could. So be thankful for what you have. And the more gratitude and the more authenticity and love that you have, the better things will get. I promise, guys.
And just give your loved ones as much love and attention as you can, because you never know when they're going to go home to Jesus. And I have a feeling we're all going to be facing more and more of this the more we trudge on in this life. I mean, it's all a part of it. But just give your loved ones a hug or a call, or just let them know you're praying for them and you're thinking about them.
Absolutely. We kept you guys a little over an hour tonight. Like I said, thank you all for coming. Go use the community. You can go check out our other channels if you don't know about them. There's Logic Before Authority, the Supernatural Show, and Super Dave 44. He's our super moderator. He's got his own channel. If you don't know him, go find him. Dave does live all the times. He has an amazing video on central casting. But go check out our network. We are a network of like minded people who are here to help each other get through all of this. We love you guys. Thank you for coming tonight. And we will see you, Thursday night, Shannon?
Yep, that's right. I we're supposed to have Daniel on. We'll see how that goes to talk about the natural man law. And if that doesn't happen, don't worry. I have something else planned for you. So,
We always got something to talk about.
yeah. Yep.
All right, guys. Good night. Thanks for coming.